Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a chat about some more of those Special Illustration Rare Eeveelutions. In the not too distant future, I think all of them are going to have been revealed, and then we're going to have a nice video where we look at all 9 of them together, and it's going to be lovely. We're not there yet. We don't have all 9 of these to have a little bit of a look at, but we do have a couple ones to look at today that we've not had a look at before, and that makes me very, very, very happy indeed. Sound like a plan? Excellent. So let's start off having a little bit of a look at Jolteon. Now, as I keep telling you, these were initially revealed on a poster, because, of course, the post collection is coming, and Smith's Toys put the poster up with the image of all of them, and it was lovely and wonderful and all of that. And Jolteon was one of the ones that stood out to me. But I do think it's pretty fair to say that we didn't get a good look, frankly. We couldn't see it perfectly. It was a little bit annoying. Well, now we can see it far, far better. And it's one that I like very, very much indeed. It is like so many of these, like all of them pretty much. We've got a, Eeveelution, Jolteon in this case, quite big front and center. And then we've got an appropriate background, which in this case, there's lots of lightning stuff going on. It looks stunning, and look, it's a Gen 1 Eeveelution. People love the Gen 1 Eeveelutions, so having this one here is absolutely wonderful. It's a cool looking card. It's one that a lot of people are going to be after. I mean, to be honest with you, all of these Eeveelutions are going to be ones that people are after, but I do think this is potentially among the coolest. Now, what does it actually do in terms of playability? Because, of course, it is an actual card as well. Well, what we've got here is we got 60 damage, and you may discard up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon. Basic energy, it has to be basic. And you deal 90 more for each energy discarded in this way. So if you discard 2 energy here, then you're actually hitting up to 240. The thing is, like a lot of these, this is not a particularly difficult thing to get going. We've got Eevee nowadays. The one that just came in Surging Sparks, that lets you evolve the turn you play it, or even on your very first turn of the game. So you can essentially get this rolling immediately. And I mean, look, I keep talking about stuff like Crispin for these Terra Pokemon, which will absolutely work. But of course, we've also got stuff like Electric Generator. And one of the things I particularly like playing around with Jolteon, go and pop your, get your Ace Spec as your Sparkling Crystal. Pop Sparkling Crystal onto Jolteon, and then attach for the turn, so you've paid for the attack. And then your Electric Generator onto the bench can either be used to, build up Pokemon for the following turn, or give you extra juice for this particular attack. So if you've got Sparkling Crystal as your Ace Spec of choice, then you don't need Electric Generator to get Jolteon rolling. You don't need Crispin or anything like that to get Jolteon rolling. And if you can hit a little bit from Electric Generator here, you can actually have this hitting really nice damage. Like if you can hit 1 Electric Generator plus your Ace Spec, then that's 150 turn 1 going second. But if you can hit a double hit off a generator, or 1 hit each off of 2 generators, for instance, then you can actually have that 240 turn 1 going second, KOing big basic EXs and things along those lines. It's not always going to work, and I'm not saying it is, but I absolutely am saying here that this is one that I have absolutely got my eye on, because I do think this one has an awful lot of potential. I think this could be fun. Electric Generator really helps, but it's not the only reason it ends up being good. So that's Jolteon. We have got a second attack here. 280, can't attack next turn. We'll get to that in a second, because let's have a look at Flareon. And Flareon, for my money, best of the Gen 1 Eeveelutions. And I don't think it's particularly close. If you're asking me for my personal favourite, this is my favourite of the Gen 1 Eeveelutions. Hands down, much better than Jolteon, who is in turn much better than Vaporeon. There's my ranking. Feel free to argue with me about that in the comment section. Huge fan of Flareon here. Absolutely adore it. And in terms of the card, it's not a bad little card either. And obviously, you look at the artwork and you're starting to see a pattern with these Eeveelutions. You really should be. You've got your Eeveelution front and center, nice and large, and then an appropriate background around it. And obviously, Jolteon was pretty obvious for lightning bolts and stuff, and this is pretty obvious for flames. But my love for Flareon as a Pokemon, as the best of the Gen 1 Eevees, is going to push this up my personal ranking, so to speak. They don't look like the same art, and they're not by the same artist or anything like that. This one's by Narakabe, but they have got a very clear style going on. There was clearly a direction from the art director here of get the Eeveelution in the middle, nice and big, and then fill it with an appropriate background to show it looking all splendiferous. And you know what? Yeah. Although at this stage, I do need to just compare it to what we had as a promo for Flareon VMAX, it wasn't actually a special illustration rare, but the equivalent thereof, which was ridiculously rare in Japanese. Like they literally only made just over 3,000, which sounds like a big number. It is not. That is a hilariously tiny number. And over here it was easier to find because it was in a collection box and all of that. But still, it is by Okacheke. It's my favorite Flareon card ever. I don't like this as much as I like that Flareon, and I ain't going to pretend that I do. But that doesn't mean it's not an awesome card that we can't all be very, very excited about. So, what did it actually do? Let's go pop it on the screen with the regular Flareon and have a chat about it in terms of playability. And we've got 2 energy, 130 damage, and you search your deck for 2 basic energy. Does not have to be fire. Any basic energy will do. And then you attach them to one of your Pokemon. Important to note here that both the energy search must be put onto the same Pokemon. You cannot split it among 2 Pokemon. I love this. Really love this. Because, 130 isn't great. It's fine. It's an okay amount of damage. I'm not pretending it's a huge amount of damage. It's not. But it's enough to get evolving Pokemon and support Pokemon and 1-hit KO a lot of stuff that's weak and 2-hit KO a lot of stuff that isn't. Not everything. Not VMAXs, not Stage 2 EXs, but a lot of things here. But the key is that you are accelerating a bunch of energy while doing this. And that's why I think this stands out. You'll get a lot of KOs in, not as many as you want, but you'll, especially in the early game, get a lot of KOs here. But then we also can have a look at this and go, well, hang on a second. Now I'm getting 2 more energy on the field. I'm building up all my other attackers, and that is why I love Flareon. And again, getting this rolling turn 1 going second, not difficult. You can evolve the Surging Sparks Eevee into Flareon, that's easy, and it's a 2 energy attack. So use Sparkling Crystal, attach for turn, you're good. Play Crispin, 1 energy gets attached and the other energy gets searched out and attached, and then you're good. Or if you can get an energy in the discard pile, you can use Magma Basin. Now, Magma Basin is not as easy because you have to attach your fire energy to a benched fire Pokemon, but you really want to attach it to Flareon, but Eevee can only evolve into Flareon when you're active. So you need to be active with Eevee to evolve into Flareon, then go to the bench to Magma Base, and then get back to the active to attack. It is a little convoluted. So I'm not sure if Magma Basin is the best option for the turn 1 going second attack, but for getting energy on the board, while you're also accelerating a bunch of energy with Flareon, oh, that's going to work very nicely indeed. And then we've got this second attack. 280 damage. This Pokemon can't attack next turn. 280 damage. Which, to be fair, is enough to KO things like V-Star and all of that. And it's the same one I showed you a second ago on Jolteon. And for what it's worth, it's the same one I showed you recently with Vaporeon. But the thing is, it's 1 fire, 1 water, 1 lightning. 1 for each of the types of these Gen 1 Eevees. So if you choose to play all 3 of them in a deck, then you do have access to this attack with 3 different typings and 3 Pokemon all using the same energy line. And of course, remember that Flareon can accelerate any energy, not just fire, and there is a decent chance here. I like this Flareon, I really do. I like the Jolteon, I think there's a lot of potential for the Jolteon. I kind of like the Flareon, and I haven't mentioned it for a couple of Eevee videos, so let me fix it now. Don't forget that we've got Glass Trumpet. Now, Glass Trumpet's another kind of odd one, because it lets you accelerate 2 basic energy from the discard to different colourless Pokemon, as long as you've got a Terra Pokemon in play. So you have to have either evolved into a Terra Eevee, or play another basic Terra Pokemon down to use this. And it's another awkward one whereby you can only accelerate the energy to Eevee, and then you need to evolve to actually attack and all of that. But it's just another option you've got for energy acceleration in these decks. And with Eevee and Glass Trumpet and Crispin and Sparkling Crystal and all of that, these Eevees are not as awkward as they may appear to actually get up and rolling and attacking with. I am a huge fan, and now we got these Special Illustration Rares. They are stunning. I adore these. But we have kind of talked about them now. I've told you about the new ones, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me what you're excited about. Tell me which of these Eevees I've shown you so far is the best. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Oscar Paradas, who's been a supporter of ours for a little while and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.